Ready?
Let's do it.
Let's go. Hey, what's up, guys? On today's episode of Yankee Rebel Outdoors, we're going to go over the review and our thought process on the new bows that we picked up. I picked up the Traditional Only Nyx. Zach, you got?
This is the Traditional Only Mesa 60-inch version.
Yep, so in today's video, we're just going to go over pros and cons and what we like, what we don't like, and should be a good review for you guys.
So this is a Traditional Only, formerly known as the Old Mountain bow lineup. This is their Mesa. This is the 60-inch version, so it's a little bit shorter than the standard 64. And you can see it's got a good bit of reflex-deflex in the limb profile. And the idea with that is you're getting the same stability throughout the draw cycle that you would know to have with a longbow, but then you're picking up a little extra speed with the amount of reflex in the limb. Yeah, I have to say I'm super impressed with it. A little background, I came from shooting a ILF style recurve last year. I had a Hoyt Satori 45 pound, and that's a great bow. It's a very accurate bow, as ILFs are known for. And I was kind of concerned switching over to a one-piece wooden bow, to be honest, but I've been super impressed. This thing is extremely accurate, and it's probably the most consistent bow that I own, which is saying something for the price point of only 350 bucks, I think is what this was. Yeah, because yours was 400. So it's very affordable, very reasonable, and I'm gonna walk you guys through just some shots in the backyard with it, run you through the things that I've found are a bit unique to this bow, and yeah, what I like about it. So let's fling some. So for my arrow setup, this is a 645 grain Black Eagle vintage shaft, 400 spine, and I've got a 300 grain point up front with the stock aluminum insert. I did not bear shaft tune these arrows out of this bow. They were bear shaft tuned out of my Bear Montana longbow, but I have shot bear shafts out of this bow and they're super close, and I'm cheap, so I'm just gonna run these things and see how they fly. So far I haven't had any issues with them. And for being a 50-pound version of this bow with this heavy of an arrow, I'm very impressed with the speed that I'm getting from it. I draw 27.5 inches, and I don't see any reason why this bow would be too slow to hunt with or to target shoot with. So we're at about 12 yards away from the bag, and we're just gonna put it in that little black circle there. So that kind of gives you the idea. Obviously, the heavier your arrow setup is, the quieter your bow is going to be. It's going to take a lot of that energy out. And with the string silencers that I have tied in, these are just regular plain wool yarn. And then I also added some Velcro strips. I've never done this to a bow before, but as we were setting up Tyler's recurve, I did notice that there was a touch of string slap. It doesn't really touch the backside of the limb except for right here, but when the string is released, it does come in and I think hits it a little bit. So I noticed a difference immediately when I did that, and that's just soft Velcro pad. The only other thing that I've done to the bow or added to it other than a Selway strap-on quiver is I added some of this vet tape or athletic tape to the grip. And the reason for this, down here in the south, even in the springtime, especially into early season September, it is extremely hot and very humid. And when you're shooting a wooden bow like this and your hands start sweating, it just makes it super difficult to have a consistent grip. And that's where I struggle the most in my form anyway, is keeping my bow arm right and making sure my grip is in place. So just adding a few wraps of this around the bow, it immediately locked everything in position, and I don't have any issues with the bow wanting to slip or torque in my hand because of the smooth radius of the grip. I think that's pretty much it. I do have more soft Velcro for a side plate here. I took off the smaller like faux leather patch that it came with. It was very small, and if you've ever been in a sticky situation with some deer around you and you go to pull your bow off of your bow hook or anything like that, and your arrow happens to smack your riser, you know, that can blow a hunt very quickly. So I went up a little bit higher than that, just with the mindset of if something were to happen, or if you draw crooked and your arrow starts coming off the shelf, it's just an extra security blanket there. If you're like me and when you mess up you really booger it up, I'll probably drop it off the thing and it'll smack the grip or something. But yeah, overall it's super consistent. We'll put a couple more shots down range. I really like the way that the wood core draws. There's consistent pull. That was low, but consistent pull all the way through the draw cycle with this bow. There isn't any sort of stacking. There's nothing really going on with limb twist. Even if I were to draw kind of crooked, or if I pluck a shot, I notice that this bow is much more forgiving than a recurve is, simply because you're not getting the limb twist up here. You're not getting that torque going on. Yeah, it's my first one-piece wooden bow that has this amount of reflex to the limb, and I don't know that I'll really change from that, to be honest with you. I kind of see this as being like the best of both worlds. You're getting extra performance, extra speed, which I'm obviously not too concerned about flinging a 650 grain arrow. But you get a little bit of pep, and it's also very quiet. I think that's the most noticeable difference between this and my takedown ILF rig, is it's so quiet. Which to me, that is way more important than anything. If you're hunting even within 10 or 15 yards with one of these bows, a whitetail is going to be able to hear that string noise. They're going to drop a little bit. So having a bow that's very quiet, in my opinion, that pays off. And if you're hearing a little bit of rattle in the setup, it's because my strap actually broke a couple weeks ago. That's flapping around a little bit, and then I also have a crack in my quiver, which I taped up, and that's because I've had this quiver for 3 years and it's been on probably 5 different bows. So
Yeah, you did mention something about you being cheap.
yeah, a little bit cheap. Yeah, duct tape will fix it up. Put one more. See how we did.
Yep.
All right, we're at like 22 yards. We're gonna shoot this arrow and just kind of wait and listen for the point of impact, just to give you an idea of arrow speed. Kind of a at-home redneck way of doing this without a chrono, but so as you can tell, this is in general a bow you want to be up close with. I have shot this same setup with a 100 grain lighter arrow, and the speed is very noticeable. It's super quick. I just couldn't get these arrows to tune with the 200 grain tip out of them, so that's why I'm running the 300 up front. If I had to rate this bow overall, for the price point, the way that it looks, the way that it feels when you shoot it, everything, I'd probably get it like 8.5 or 9 out of 10. And 10 is like absolute perfection. 10 in my world is like you're having the appearance of custom, wood veneers and that kind of thing from a custom bow. So for $350, right out of the box, only thing I had to do with this is let the string stretch out. Like I said, put some grip material here, which is just personal preference, and throw a quiver on it, and you're good to go. I don't think you can beat that. Wrong.
All right, guys, here it is. The Traditional Only Nyx. This is a 60-inch bow, and I got it in the 50-pound limb version. First look at this thing. This thing is absolutely beautiful. The way they put the carbon inlay into the riser here. It's got the foam core 3K carbon fiber limbs, and for me, being a newbie and just switching over to this traditional side of things, I've shot compounds for a long time and wanted to get into this. And when I first got this bow in the mail, I was in awe because it is absolutely beautiful. Looking it over, throughout the carbon, throughout the inlay into the riser here. Just absolute perfection. This thing is absolutely beautiful. This originally did come with the B55 string. After watching a video with Jeff Phillips, he recommended going with the D97 Fast Flight. So as soon as we got the bow, I put the Fast Flight string on right away. He mentioned how it'd be a little bit louder. However, we put these silencers on here, just these cotton string silencers, and this bow is not loud at all. It's actually quite quiet. We did end up putting in some Velcro here so that when the string slaps the limbs, it definitely quiets it down quite a bit. We also put some more of the soft Velcro for the arrow rest here, and this pad came with it just for the arrow going across the riser. So as a compound guy for many years, getting into the recurve side of things, it's challenging. One thing that I've noticed is consistency, as with the compound, is very key. But when you are inconsistent with a recurve, this thing will let you know. So this has been a huge learning curve for me, and it's going to continue to be a big learning curve. But I think I picked the right bow for me, as far as it fits me. Obviously the poundage is what it is, and super fast. I expected this thing to be able to catch the arrow out of the air, and I'm going to shoot it here in a minute, and I'll show you. But this thing's actually pretty dang fast. We don't have a chrono. It's probably something we should invest in here, but I don't know what it's shooting feet per second, but it's pretty darn quick. And yeah, let's throw a few arrows down the range. And so right now this is the vintage. Who makes this thing?
Black Eagle.
Black Eagle. That's right. Thanks, buddy. This is the Black Eagle vintage. We ended up doing some bare shafting and getting the arrow set up correct for me, and we got a whole nother video coming out. We'll link that in the description. But Black Eagle vintage, we landed at 550 grains overall. Paper tuned it, and yeah, it shoots pretty good. And basically, if ever there's an arrow that's going off, it's me. I'm learning the form. I'm learning the consistency, and it's certainly a challenge, but it's a lot of fun. I mean, shooting these bows, I just feel like I could shoot it all day long, not really get tired, and man, they're just a lot of fun. It's kind of bringing the little kid in me back out. I feel like a little kid running around that I just made a bow out of a small stick and that kind of thing, and man, you get that side of it, but this thing is a professional bow. This is something that's absolutely going to take down some whitetail this year, as long as I can keep it together. So let's go ahead and shoot a few arrows here. We're only at, what, 12 yards or so. So yeah, that's the other thing. You got to have your hat backwards. That's kind of feel like a punk, but we're just going to put it down. That thing's fast. For what I mean, stick and string, no mechanical advantage. This thing is fast, dude. I love shooting this bow. It's I don't know. Like I said, I feel like I can grab arrow after arrow after arrow and just start flinging these things, and it's addicting. That's for sure. I mean, it just shoots great. A little high on that one, but yeah, like I said, I'm still very much a noob, and learning this whole recurve and traditional side of things. And I think it's for me to give a rating on this. I did shoot a bunch of bows before this. Zach has got a Montana. His father's got a few other bows, some cheap Bass Pro stuff, and landed on this, and I'm glad I did. And if I was to give it an overall, it's hard for me to say because I'm so new to this, but I'm in love with it. And if you're ever questioning, thinking on, is that the bow for me? I don't think you're ever going to get this and go, man, that was not a good decision. This thing is sweet. So for me to give it an overall, I'm in love with it. I think it's a 10, but I'm new to this. So take that for what you will. I think I can't think of a negative thing about it, So overall, I give it a 10. And if you're thinking about it, hop over to Three Rivers Archery. That's where I got this one, and put it in the basket and get it sent to your house. All right, so here we're about 22 yards-ish. I just wanted to give you a quick little reference of when I release the arrow to when it actually hits the target. Like I said, I think this thing's pretty fast, but I'm gonna shoot it, you let me know. I mean, it's a recurve, but I love it. All right, so overall, me getting into the traditional side of things, I love this Traditional Only Nyx. Like I said, I'm new at this, but I'm gonna give this bow a 10 out of 10. Draw cycle is awesome. It's super quiet. It looks really nice. It's way faster than I ever expected. I'm absolutely pumped up to get into the deer woods and harvest a deer with this hopefully this year. So like I said, overall, I give this bow a 10. If you're even thinking about it, I would highly recommend it. So what do you think?
I think I'm waiting on September. I'm pumped, dude. I'm so
right.
ready. I did not need a new bow this year by any means, but I got one, and I am just so stoked to get up in the saddle and start shooting. That's one thing we have not done yet is
That's
actually
right.
get these up in a tree and shoot them out of a saddle. So I'm stoked to see how
We
that
should
goes.
do another video on that.
Yeah.
So stay tuned for that. We'll get that.
At least
next-
throw that up on the Instagram
Yeah.
or something like that. Just a quick little deal, but
Yeah.
man, overall, I can't say enough about this. If you are somebody that's just getting into traditional archery and you're looking for a good starter bow, I would say get this. Because for $350, you have a super good bow, high performing, and I mean it's not lacking anything at all. I maybe wouldn't recommend the 50-pound model for just getting into it. 40 or 45 is plenty, depending on what your state regulation is for minimum poundage. It's just so smooth. It's so smooth, and the biggest difference that I noticed just in everyday shooting is the actual weight of the bow. Going to a one-piece longbow, a little bit shorter, versus a aluminum riser from an ILF rig, it's like half the weight. It feels like half the weight, and I actually ran a brass counterweight on the stabilizer mount with that thing too. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
probably 6 pounds.
These things are super light. I mean, as far as backcountry, carrying your crap in, saddle, quick setup, run and gun setups, this thing's awesome.
Yeah, I don't think you can beat it. We went on a backpack trip about a month ago now, and I brought my Bear Montana, and it was great. Walking stick, and it's just super light. You don't even notice as you have it with you. So yeah, all in all, I've got to say, if you are looking to get into traditional archery, I can't recommend this bow enough. Right now, I'm probably going to give it that 8.5 out of 10. Like I said, I'm picky. 10 is going to be like perfect shooting bow with amazing, beautiful custom veneers and all that stuff. But this isn't far behind it. And
Yeah.
for $350, I don't know
That's
if you
the
can
thing.
beat that.
Yeah. So, yeah, overall, we love them. Highly recommend each one of them. But yeah. Oh, you know what? We actually already have blood with these things. We just had squirrel season here in
That's
North
right.
Carolina, and here in the backyard. I got one. You got one at your parents' house.
Yep,
I
at
think,
my parents' house, yep.
So we already got blood with these things. So hopefully that's a sign of things to come here in the fall. And yeah, stay tuned. We're gonna probably do some more 3D stuff. Maybe we'll do some clips on that. And as the year goes on, if we have any updates, things that we learn about the bows, we'll certainly keep you guys updated. If you have any questions for us,
Yep.
things that you want to see, things that we can help you with setups and that kind of stuff, feel free to reach out to us, comment down below. Be sure to like and subscribe, and stay tuned. Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Let's go.